Peggle. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Ferret 64 podcast with me, your host, Yemmy the Ferret. Ferret 64 is, of course, the one-stop shop for video game news, occurrences, first impressions, and so much more. We have a packed schedule for you today. Gamescom announcements, the Silksong announcement, Kirby Air Riders Direct, games I've been playing. I finished Donkey Kong Bananza this past week, and of course, so much more. It's going to be a long one. I can almost guarantee it, unless we get right into it with what was announced at that game showcase. We're going to start off with Gamescom opening night. Now, I know that there was a lot of announcements throughout the Gamescom period, but I'm just going to go over the opening night stuff right here, and then other things will be sprinkled in through the What's Coming Soon section. So if I miss something here, it's probably there. But I did find an article with all of the announcements for the pre-show and for the main show, and I'll get into why the pre-show is important right now. So the pre-show had a couple of really interesting, actually I think almost all the games shown off in the pre-show were pretty interesting looking games, and I wanted to highlight them because I personally felt like the pre-show for the Gamescom was actually more interesting and more thrilling than the actual show itself, which may be a bit controversial, but I gotta say, I mean, the stuff that they announced at the pre-show felt like these games should have been in the main show. And it all started with Bubsy 4D. That's right, Bubsy, he's coming back, and he's doing another 3D platformer, but this time, it's gonna be good, right? What could possibly go wrong? So this is being developed by the indie studio FabRaz, and this is the first original 3D Bubsy adventure since 1996. This will be coming to PC, PS4, 5, Xbox, and Switch as well. It seems like it retains the Bubsy flair, for better or for worse. I guess we will find out. Also, a game called Densh Attack was announced. This is a Tony Hawk Pro Skater style game, but instead of riding around on a skateboard, you are a speeding train through a post-apocalyptic Japanese setting. This game is set to launch in 2026 for all the major platforms, and it will release day one on the Xbox Game Pass. This one really caught my eye for its really interesting visual style, like very hectic, fast, like cel-shaded style. And then also the fact that you're a train car and you're speeding across these tracks. I mean, it just looks really cool. I mean, what else is there to say? It just looks really cool. Another game called Battlestar Galactica Scattered Hopes. This is a new Battlestar Galactica strategy game. It was briefly shown off. There was a couple of not still images, but quick images here and there. Obviously, this one is inspired by the reboot of the show, so not the original version. But for a Battlestar Galactica game, I mean, I like what I see. I mean, I'm not a huge Battlestar Galactica fan, but my dad was, so I watched a lot of episodes when I was a kid. We'll see what this one's all about. It looks like there's a lot of colony management, ship management, stuff like that. And I'm sure it's a bit of an RTS as well. So we will see more about that when they show off more. This is supposed to launch in 2026. Night Dive Studios is coming in with a new remaster of a classic, and this one is Outlaws. And the name is a little bit weird. Outlaws Plus Handful of Missions Remaster. So this is a 1997 LucasArts first-person shooter. I believe this one originally released on like DOS platforms and stuff like that, right? Maybe not DOS. No, that's way too old. Maybe the Windows 98 platforms or 95. But this is a first-person shooter, and much like Night Dive Studios does, they spruce up the visuals, put it onto modern platforms with a couple of quality of life updates, and boom, bada bing, there you go. We haven't had a first-person Western arcade shooter in a while, and this one is obviously from the 90s, so it's not exactly new, but Night Dive Studios, they do well with all of their remasters. Minus a few criticisms here and there. I think they stay true to what the games are, and I'm excited to see what this one's all about. I mean, obviously Western shootouts, but we'll see what's more about. He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, Dragon Pearl of Destruction. This is a new, like, 16-bit style beat 'em up game in the Masters of the Universe Legends IP, whatever you want to call it. This will arrive. They didn't give an exact date for this one, but it'll arrive eventually. Heavily inspired by beat 'em ups from the SNES era, featuring several characters from the beloved 80s animated TV show. So yeah, I mean, this one looks good. The soundtrack seems bopping. It's got that chiptune type He-Man style. So yeah, I mean, this was a pretty big announcement. I feel like, but it's a pre-show thing, of course. There was another beat 'em up or maybe slash 'em up also shown off called Absalom. This is a game that's coming October 9th. It kind of looks like a hand-drawn kind of world with ghouls and goblins. You play as various sword wielders. There's also a dwarf who I believe throws bombs and stuff like that. So yeah, there is. Oh, there's a frog wizard in here as well. So that's pretty cool in my opinion. But yeah, this is coming October 9th, and it looks stylish. Looks cool. Looks like a nice slash 'em up. Another game called Routine is tapping into more 90s sci-fi horror nostalgia with a VHS-style design. It's a first-person survival horror game where you use some sort of instrument to see if a robot is alive or something like that. I mean, it's hard. They didn't really show off much. I mean, you're going down these creepy corridors in the trailer. There's like a sewer, and then there's like a robot, and you point the thing at him. So it's possible that you're like scanning for any active circuits. Either that or you freeze the enemies in place when you point that at them. Either way, sounds like a pretty harrowing experience. This one's coming to PC and Xbox next or later this year. Valor Mortis is a Napoleonic era / World War I era inspired first-person Souls-like. This is coming from the same studio who did Ghost Runner, which automatically kind of puts it up in my opinion, right? But this one, it features a sword with parrying, and then you also have guns to use as well, almost like a first-person Bloodborne in my opinion. But yeah, it's set during the Napoleonic eras, but I'm pretty sure they said something about World War I as well, so maybe it goes from Napoleonic era to like closer to the World War I times. But yeah, there's like these mutated Napoleonic era soldiers, and they have like these multiple arms and giant hands and stuff like that. I mean, the design is really cool, and you don't get a lot of settings like this other than like RTS games. You don't get too many settings like this where you can kind of explore a world in first person that is like this. So I'm very excited to try this one out. I don't believe they gave it a release date, but you can only think that it's going to come out in the next year. A game called PVKK. This is a game where you play as a planetary defense, a person inside of a planetary defense cannon, and you need to set up your shots and fire into the atmosphere while also just surviving in your bunker as well. I think it's a really interesting concept, having to map out trajectories and solve some puzzles to make sure you hit your target in general. Yeah, I just like the idea. I like the idea this is coming in 2026. Road Kings is a new 18-wheeler simulator type game. It's been a while since we had like Euro Truck or American Truck, those types of games. But you will be a truck driver, and you will be hauling cargo through the US. The game will launch in 2026 for PC, PS5, and Xbox. They didn't show off too much of this game, but you can only assume that's going to be a majority of it's going to be driving along stretches, taking rest stop breaks, and possibly just doing maintenance on your truck while you go along. Unlike the other truck simulator games, you might be able to get out of your truck and actually focus on things, which would be cool. So, kind of like an evolution of that old series. And then finally, they showed Sonic Racing Crossworld's latest crossover, which is with Pac-Man. So this is Sega and Bandai Namco shaking hands here. Sonic is going to cross over with Pac-Man in two ways. So Pac-Man is going to come to Sonic Racing Crossworlds. I believe he has his own track as well. And then Sonic is actually going to cross over into the new Pac-Man World 2 repack game, which was announced recently. And we're not sure what's going to happen with that, but Sonic will be there. He'll be there. There will be an open network test for Sonic Racing Crossworlds on August 29th through September 1st. So if you want to test out the game, try it out, see if it's something that you're going to want to buy day one, well, there you go. And that concluded the pre-show for the Gamescom main event. Like I said, this was great. When I rewatched this on stream, because I missed the first part because I was rushing home from work. I got off a little bit early, the stream, the event. I missed the entirety of the opening here. And when I went back and watched it, I was like, damn, that was like a really good pre-show. Like if the pre-show was just Gamescom opening night, like I think I would have been enthralled. I would have been actually very happy about that. But yeah, Jeff Keighley still has to do his thing, so he comes out on stage and he's like, here's Black Ops 7. And I don't know what to tell you, folks. Black Ops 7 is the next Black Ops game. It's the next Call of Duty game. It's on Game Pass. It's coming out November 14th. And it just, I don't know. It's just kind of like a big ho-hum thing to me right now. Because Battlefield 6 is coming. And at this point, I could really care less what Call of Duty is doing. Like, did I enjoy Black Ops 6? Yes. But did I love the Battlefield 6 beta? Yes. Like, I love that so much more than anything that I played from Black Ops 6 for the past, half a year, even more. And with them going to Black Ops 7 and being, it's so heavily focused on the connection to Black Ops 2, I mean, there's a lot of weight on this game's shoulders. And right now, it just really isn't showing me anything that could make me too excited, other than the fact that it is, essentially a direct sequel to Black Ops 2. I'm sure the campaign will be good. I'm not worried about that. But I do worry about the overall playability and sustainability of this one. I mean, Black Ops 6 was starting to become and did become something a bit different than what you would want from a Call of Duty game, and I guess we'll see what happens. I don't mind that they're going back to a futuristic style. I don't mind that at all. And they also put a big focus on the 4-player co-op in this game. Now, Black Ops 3 had 4-player co-op as well. But I guess the main thing is that the story was not designed around a 4-player co-op. It was just one or two characters for the main characters, and then the other two people weren't a part of the story. But apparently in this one, much like Gears of War in the past, it's now 4-player co-op, and all the characters matter that you're playing as in the game. So does that mean that a single-player playthrough will feel less impactful? I don't know. I guess we'll find out. They also showed off that the Zombies is coming back, of course, along with multiplayer modes. So, yeah, Black Ops 7 coming November 14th. I will be playing it on Game Pass. You won't see me buying it for $70. Jeff Keighley also said, hey, here's Silksong. And they showed 3 seconds of gameplay, and that was it. They did confirm a 2025 release date, which kind of confused me when the next thing I'm going to talk about, the Hollow Knight, release trailer came around. They actually didn't put a release year, just the release date. And I was like, oh, well, it could be anywhere from 2025 to 2050. We don't know. But they did confirm a 2025 release date here, which I did forget about by the time the Silksong thing came around. Lords of the Fallen 2 is officially has been officially announced. This is going to be coming in 2026. The sequel will be bloodier, faster, and more brutal than ever. Probably taking all the things they learned from the last reboot of the series and putting it into this one. Now, it does seem like they are keeping the, when you die, you go to the other world, and there's 2 different worlds that you're fighting through. It seems like they kept that idea in there. And they've also, I guess, improved a lot of things about the game from the first one, but we'll see more about that when it gets closer to release. Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. They showed a trailer for the anime that is coming in 2026. The anime doesn't look as crazy as I was expecting it to, I guess. It's a bit more... It just looks a bit more basic than I was expecting for an animation style for a Souls-like game, but it is stylistic, and I'm sure the anime will be good. I don't remember... Oh, it's coming exclusively to Crunchyroll next year. My favorite announcement from Gamescom opening night was Lego Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight. This is a full telling of the entirety of the Batman in popular media story. It includes storylines from comic books, movies, animated movies, video games, etc. And I am actually very interested and excited about this. It's coming to PC and consoles next year, and it'll feature levels from Batman Begins, The Dark Knight, The Batman, even like Batman 89, the original Batman movies. I'm sure there'll be some 60s stuff in there. If they are doing comic book stuff, I can almost guarantee that there will be year 1 stuff in there. If they're doing animated movies, I can almost guarantee Under the Red Hood's going to be in there. And then also for like video games, there was a section where he did the Lego Batman did put the bat symbol on the wall with some spray foam. So you can only assume that either Arkham Asylum or Arkham City or both are going to have levels included in the game or in levels inspired by those games. So yeah, it'll be a very interesting time. Hopefully it's not as grindy of 100% as the Skywalker Saga was. I feel like they are going to take what they learned from that game and make this one a more probably compact version of that. But yeah, I'm expecting fun visuals, big time levels based off of famous scenes from the movies. And a lot of Batman love. Now, it is weird. They didn't bring the voice actor for Lego Batman back for this one. They did choose a different voice actor because it's the guy from Arrested Development, Will Arnett. They didn't bring Will Arnett in for this one. They also did not bring Zach Galifianakis back for the Joker's voice, which I thought he did a pretty good job in the Lego Batman movie. So they are different voices, which will need getting used to. They're not even the same voices from back when they did the Lego Batman video games. So, yeah, we'll see. I guess the main thing from the reveal was that Bane is being voice acted by Matt Berry, who is a English actor, comedian, and musician known for his roles in Toast of London and What We Do in the Shadows. He also appeared in... He was originally cast as Steve in a Minecraft movie, apparently. Interesting. But yeah, he's done voice acting roles and other roles and other things. A lot of famous things like the IT Crowd, the Wild Robot, etc., etc. So I guess that means that it will be a fun performance. So I guess we'll wait and see. All right, Warhammer 40K Dawn of War 4 was also revealed. This is a new RTS in the Dawn of War series. So fans of Dawn of War rejoice, or not, depending on how you feel about the last installment. This game is going to feature over 70 missions when it launches in 2026. From one of the people who I know who is maybe not a fan of Warhammer, but at least interested in Warhammer, I'll say. They said that if it is a combo of 2 and 3, they're not going to probably enjoy 4. I guess something weird happened with the third game. that caused lore to break and stuff like that. So we'll see what happens in this one. I mean, when I saw the reveal, I was like, yeah, it's pretty cool. They're bringing back Dawn of War, RTS game, you know. But I guess we'll see what happens when it comes to PC next year. All right, they spent way too much time on Black Ops 7, and they also spent way too much time on the Monster Hunter Wilds cross Final Fantasy 14. So this is a crossover of legendary proportions. Final Fantasy 14 is the online version of the game, and you will get special things inside of Final Fantasy 14 related to Monster Hunter Wilds, and vice versa. Monster Hunter Wilds will get chocobos and other armor upgrades and outfits for your cat, I guess, for Monster Hunter Wilds. So this is coming in October. Like I said, they spent way too much time on this. They had there were the creators of both of these games out on the stage with a translator, and it just felt like it was taking forever. Like, I get it, this is impactful. It's Bandai Namco crossing over with freaking Final Fantasy for like I don't know if this is the first time, but seems like a pretty important thing if they're gonna spend like 20 minutes of showtime on it. But yeah, I mean, these are two games that I'm not interested in. I'm sure if you are a fan of either game, this is pretty cool for you, but it was just kind of a ho-hum thing for me. And that's kind of when the show started to lose me a bit. Even though right after that was the Onimusha Way of the Sword trailer, which does look amazing. Don't get me wrong, like that trailer was great. Onimusha is coming out in 2026 to all the major platforms, and the trailer showed off some of the combat and some more of the just kind of how the enemies look and stuff like that. I mean, this game is looking awesome. If you're a fan of Onimusha, probably gonna be more excited than me. But yeah, for this, probably it's gonna be my first Onimusha game, unless they release the old ones on in like a collection or something like that. Pretty excited to try that out. But then right after that, we had a slew of just things I wasn't really interested in. Starting off with an anime game called Arc Knight's Endfield. This is action anime girl game with plenty of gadgets. There you go. Also, Daemon X Machina, Titanic Scion had a trailer. I mean, this game doesn't look bad by any means. I've never played the original Daemon X Machina, but I do know that people said that it was a bit bland for a mech game. I mean, this one did look stylish and whatnot. Maybe they're taking some cues from Armored Core here. But there is a demo out right now if you want to try that out, Daemon X Machina. I believe that comes later this year, right? Oh, there's also cooperative multiplayer as well that they announced. Europa Universalis 5. This is another strategy game coming from the Europa developers. And it was pretty much just a cinematic trailer saying, hey, the game is coming. It's in development. The Europa fans out there are all rejoicing. Now, I've never played a Europa game. I do know that they're pretty complex in terms of their gameplay mechanics and stuff like that. But never really been interested in trying them out. I'm sure it's great. They also spent a little bit too much time on Fallout Season 2, which is coming December 17th. They had 3 or 4 people on stage from the Fallout's TV show, and it just was another one where it's like, it's all scripted jokes, all scripted comments. It just was really boring to watch. The trailer itself was good. You know, I mean, the trailer was good, but they did not need to spend so much time with those actors and with those people. Like, this is Gamescom. I'm annoyed by this point because the show is starting to slow down and just become like the usual Jeff Keighley slop, and it didn't stop there. Although we did get another trailer for Indiana Jones and the Order of Giants, which is coming in, I think, by the end of this year, right? But they also showed off, which is, I guess, the more important thing, that Indiana Jones and the Great Circle is coming to Switch 2 in 2026. So they're going to do a native Switch 2 version. I'm sure that if there's a physical version, it's going to be a game key card, or they're just going to do a digital-only kind of release. But the Order of Giants, that's coming out. It looks pretty good from the trailers. I probably won't be checking it out anytime soon, simply because with my schedule and how I play games, I just can't go back to some games. Like, I'll go back to Kingdom Come Deliverance here and there, but man, you know, going back to some of these games that have released in the past couple years, it's hard for me. Deadpool VR got a trailer. They showed off that it was launching on November 18th. This is coming to the Oculus Quest exclusively. There is not a PS2 version of this game coming as that we know of. Deadpool is going to go up against Mojo, who is voiced by John Leguizamo. They also featured Spiral and Omega Red in the trailers. World of Tanks is launching in 2.0. There's a massive upgrade coming next month alongside numerous tweaks and fixes. The free-to-play game will add Tier 11 vehicles to the game, and they will also introduce a new PvE story-driven campaign. This update will go live on September 3rd. John Carpenter's Toxic Commandos. This is a Left 4 Dead inspired or Back 4 Blood inspired game featuring John Carpenter's iconic visual style, I guess, soundtrack as well. This is being developed by Saber Interactive, and it doesn't look too bad. It doesn't look too bad at all. This is coming early 2026. An indie game called Death by Scrolling. This is a game where you continuously scroll upwards, and you need to collect things and defeat enemies to level yourself up and defeat the Grim Reaper by the end of it. Jeff Keighley said he played this game for so long. He loves this game so much. Looks fine. Looked absolutely fine. I might pick it up when it comes out. They did not give a release date for it, though. It was at this point that they showed off a trailer for Gamescom, like the actual Gamescom convention. And me and a lot of people, including some people on social medias as well, who I don't even know, were like, that trailer looked a lot like Control 2, did it not? And the main thing, main reason why I say that is there was a floating person, there was triangle with a red hue inside of it, and I was and there was like staircases like going into each other, like a real weird visual style. And I'm like, that's Control 2. We're seeing Control 2 right now. No, it was just a trailer for Gamescom, and shame on them for baiting everyone like that. They knew what they were doing. The triangle, I mean, specifically the triangle, which is iconic for Control 1, right? Like, come on. You're kidding me here. You're kidding me here. A game called Zero Parades is coming next year. They showed off a purely cinematic trailer, but it revolves around espionage and spies. Could be kind of cool. It's probably going to be a multiplayer game. Another anime game called Neverness to Everness is coming out. It's supposed to be like Zenless Zone Zero and Honkai Star Rail. This is a new entry into the genre of like these MMO anime kind of games. There you go. Another one called Unbeatable. This is coming out on November 6th. This is a rhythm game, if I remember correctly, where you play as like a band, and there's original music written for the game. You know me, I love that kind of thing where they have like an actual band playing, like it's not just like generic songs or whatever. It's actually written for the band. Ever since that Goodbye Volcano High game, I've been kind of interested in another game doing that, and maybe in a better way. So yeah, we'll see what this one's all about when it releases on November 6th. I probably will be picking this one up. It looks pretty fun. They had the Clair Obscur Expedition 33 song, which was obviously very good, you know. I felt like this was a Game Awards type thing that they would do instead of a Gamescom type thing. Like, do I really like the song they played? Do I really love Expedition 33? Yes, of course. Do they need to have a performance for the soundtrack in this Gamescom performance? No. And I honestly think that Jeff does these things because he misses out on the game's like announcements and stuff like that. Because I don't believe Expedition 33 was shown off at Gamescom last year, or even Summer Games Fest or anything like that. I feel like this game flew under the radar, and that's the one thing that Jeff likes to do. He likes to play catch up a lot of the times, where a game will get super popular like Balatro, and then all of a sudden Jeff's like, "Oh, we're doing this for Balatro. We're doing this for Balatro," and it just really feels kind of. It just feels like he's playing catch up with these games that become big that he didn't show off because he has no interest. If they're not giving him money, he has no interest to even look at these games. So this just felt like a real shoehorn thing, in my opinion. That was like, oh, we forgot we didn't give them any floor space at the Game Awards or anything like that when this game was coming out. So now we need to do something in order to go like be like, hey, this game is great, right? Like, it just seems so shitty in my opinion. But it was a nice performance. They didn't announce anything new for the game, but it's a nice performance, and yeah. Ninja Gaiden Black 4 had another trailer. Every time I see a trailer for this game, it feels like it's a thrown-in trailer that they just randomly produced. Like, it just feels like one of those trailers for like Xbox Game Pass in general, where it's like a lot of flashy gameplay and some lines here and there. They did show off one of the bosses being like a one-armed like samurai, which I thought was kind of cool. But like once again, like I feel like anytime they show off the Ninja Gaiden Black 4 game, it just feels like it's a sizzle reel trailer. Even though it's not. But yeah, so that comes out soon. Another game called The Darkest Files is coming out. This is framed around the process to prosecute Nazis and defend post-war Germany. It is actually out now for PC, but it's also coming to Switch. Seems like an interesting concept. Cinder City. This is a MMO set inside the open world of like a... I guess it's a city, right? The gameplay that showed off had them in like a hospital or something like that, which was an interesting idea. But it seems like you're taking out zombies, and it's a tactical shooter, and it's a survivor, and a blah 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 blah. Graphically, it doesn't look too bad. Next up was Time Takers. This is a third-person team-based hero-type shooter, which brings characters from various eras of human history to battle each other. So it starts out with like a samurai, and the samurai gets taken into this futuristic setting, and there's also like all these other characters around who are also like kind of mixed, like Neo, kind of like, oh, we're from the past, but we're in the future now type characters. They knew what they were doing because they really focused on the big booby redheaded girl character in the trailer. But yeah, that's coming out eventually down the road. Silent Hill F had a trailer. I really didn't feel like they showed too much about the game off. Like, they obviously had some disturbing imagery and some weird things going on. Maybe I'm just a hater. I don't know. But Silent Hill, like this trailer for Silent Hill F didn't really get me excited. I was just kind of like, yep, that's Silent Hill F apparently. So yeah, I guess they did show off the English dub, which, I mean, who's going to play with the English dub on this game? It's based in Japan. Like, I don't know. Anyway, that is coming out soon. Chronos: The New Dawn. They actually did something very cool for this game. They had a person in the actual suit on stage. Now, they didn't really move that much. It could have been a mannequin for all I know. But maybe it's because the suit's a bit restrictive that they put on the person. But they did show off some of the game again. Now, I mean, look, I don't need to be any more sold for this game than I already am, right? I am going to be buying this game. I'm going to be playing this game. It's coming from Bloober Team, and they did a good job with at least the atmosphere and whatever of Silent Hill 2 remake. So I'm confident that Chronos: New Dawn is going to be a pretty good game, and that is also coming soon as well. La Divina Commedia, which I believe is the Divine Comedy. They're making a game based off of that. They didn't really show too much off about this game, but could be an interesting concept. The Outer Worlds 2. That's coming, by the way. They showed off some of the, I guess, characters that you'll meet in the game, different crew members who will join your crew. Looks fine. I mean, honestly, I'm not really that interested in even playing Outer Worlds 2 at this point. It doesn't look like... like, the Outer Worlds 1 it's kind of special in a lot of ways. I enjoyed that game. It felt like a New Vegas type thing going on. I mean, I know there's a lot of people who didn't like it, but I personally liked that one. I don't know about this one though. This one isn't really rustling my jimmies. It's coming October 29th. Inzoi has a new update coming out, free to all players, where you can have islands. You can take your little Sims type character to an island. That is available right now. It came out on the 20th. Fate Trigger. This is an anime game armed with lots of anime women of various sizes and statures and cup sizes. I'm pretty sure this is like a open world like battle royale type game. Early access begins in 2026. Seven Deadly Sins Origins. This is a game based off of the manga and anime series of the same name, The Seven Deadly Sins. Origin features a brand new original story, open world gameplay, and like characters that you'll probably recognize from the game. Plus, I guess there's a new protagonist named Prince Tristan of Lioness. Voidbreaker announced that it is now on early access on Steam and PC. There was a bit of a sizzle reel shown off for the game. I mean, this game looks cool. Looks cool. Not really interested in it, though. Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 officially will be released on October 21st. This is coming to all the major consoles except for Switch 2. The trailer showed off how players will be able to use their voice in their head to help them crack an unsolved murder case during an exploration of Seattle. Could be kind of cool. Vampire the Masquerade's Bloodlines 2 could be kind of cool. There was a quick trailer for Moonlighter 2, which is the new version of Moonlighter. This is the 3D, like top-down, kind of catty corner type game. It will be coming to early access on October 23rd. World of Warcraft Midnight had a 5-minute cinematic trailer shown off for this expansion. They showed that these elves who guard the light were being attacked by some goth mommy, and shit was hitting the fan, and then the light helped them out, and in the end, and pushed back the invading army. So if you want to check out that's on YouTube, of course. World of Warcraft Midnight, I believe, is coming next year. I don't remember. Oh, they also showed off that Age of Empires 4 was coming to PS5 in November. And there's going to be a new expansion called New Dynasties of the East, which will launch alongside that. Kind of interesting. Cult of the Lamb is also getting a new expansion called Wool Haven. This is coming early 2026. You can really feel the loss of Riverboy in the soundtrack. It's definitely a different vibe, even though they tried to recreate some of the kind of beats and stuff that he did. It just doesn't really feel the same. But the expansion looks interesting. I'll give it that. Speaking of Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, Legacy of the Forge is a new DLC coming out. This is coming September 9th. The new content will allow players to create and manage a ford, repair it, and also become the best blacksmith in town. You'll also be able to fix up buildings in the town as well. A game called Enshrouded Wake the Water is a new update to the Enshrouded game, and that's coming in October. You're going to need to get out your swimming shorts for this one. I don't know anything about this game. Sorry. Project Spectrum is a game coming from the people behind Delta Force. This is a PvPvE psychological horror game, which showed off a cinematic trailer during Gamescom. This looked interesting. Like, the girl went through the level as like just a regular, like, I don't know, like a special agent. Then she went through the level again, like seeing the other side of it, where it's like army or whatever. And then finally she like turned into a wraith or whatever and played the game like that. So I feel like it's going to be almost like Evolve in a lot of ways, where but instead of it being like one team of players working together, it's like two teams, separate teams trying to take out this like ghostly character. That's what I think it's going to be like. But the trailer looks cool, so there you go. There was a quick trailer for World of Tanks Heat. This is actually a new game coming to the World of Tanks series that is much more fast-paced. It's a 10v10 hero shooter, but with tanks and other vehicles like that. It is coming to all the different platforms, which it's also going to offer cross-play and cross-progression when it does come out. They didn't show a lot about the game, but it did look kind of cool. They had like these tanks like doing drifts and stuff like that all over the place. Like, it's a game that I probably will play and try out because it just looks so stylish compared to all the other games that they showed off during the presentation that were in the same genre. Ghost of Yotai had a trailer. This is coming October. Look, I mean, they keep showing these trailers off for Ghost of Yotai. I'm interested in the game. I am buying the game. I already have it pre-ordered. Like, I'm not going to be any more interested than I'm at right now. And at this point, any trailer they show off isn't really showing anything new. But the one thing that they did reveal was that the co-op multiplayer mode called Legends will be coming to the game in 2026. So you have to wait a little bit for the multiplayer version of the game to come out. But when it does, it will be featuring it'll feature the Yotai 6 who you hunt down in the main game as like these crazy demonic versions of themselves, which sounds kind of cool. So there you go. They also had a trailer for Resident Evil Requiem, and they also announced that the game was going to be playable at Gamescom right there. But the trailer and the little bit of gameplay they showed off was it was the girl from the first trailer that we saw, but younger, going through this like hotel or that they are staying at with her mom, and there are people who are trying to kill them. And then they also show that there's another like Mr. X type character following you around at some points in the game, which does seem kind of crazy. They also showed off that like the monster can like interact with the environment, so like she goes around a cart and then the monster pushes the cart into her down the hallway. Like that's kind of a cool concept there. So yeah, this game is still coming in February of 2026. And then the last thing that they showed off was pretty big, from the same developers as Black Myth Wukong. Black Myth Zong Koi is coming out. This is coming from the same people who did Game Science, a single-player action RPG starring the ghost-catching god Zong Koi. This is probably just starting production. Like, I don't expect them to have this game out within the next year or so. But we'll see more about that when they want to reveal more about it. The cinematic trailer was pretty cool. I don't know if you're going to be playing as Zong Koi. It seems like maybe you will, maybe you won't. I don't know. But that was a good ending to the whole thing, right? The Resident Evil Requiem and Black Myth Zong Koi was a cool finale there. But yeah, I just wasn't like super impressed with the output of the Gamescom this year. Like I appreciate all the developers who are in this. Like it's not like any of these games looked terrible, but there was a lot of down moments throughout this that I could feel. There was a lot of lengthened sections that didn't need to be lengthened. I felt like the pre-show was a pretty perfect length in comparison to the reveals from the rest of the showcase, but there were still some fun things in there too, don't get me wrong. I guess one of the things that just kind of really annoyed me was just how long they spent on Call of Duty, how long they spent on that Final Fantasy crossover, how long they just spent on Fallout 2, Season 2. It just felt like it took up like 10 or 15 minutes of this showcase, and it's like, look, this is 2 hours. Like, I am already starting to fade out by the time that these Fallout people are coming onto the stage. Like, you gotta pick this up. Like, oh my gosh. So I would give the Gamescom opening night overall, it was like a B. If it was just the pre-show, that would be like an A+. If it was just the Gamescom opening night, it would be a C or a C+. But altogether, it's a B for me. There you go. Wow, that took longer than I was expecting, as it usually does. Let's move on to Hollow Knight Silksong. This will be real quick. This is another reveal, another showcase, I guess you could call it. Not really a showcase, though, but I wanted to put it here because it is pretty important. Team Cherry did a countdown and everything, all this cinematic stuff going on, and they showed off the game, Hollow Knight Silksong, and it was a lot of new gameplay footage in there, a lot of cool visual stuff going on, visual flair. They showed off some environments. You can swim in the game as well. Ooh. Yeah, so essentially, I guess the main thing that you're trying to do is to ascend to the top of the kingdom. They did show off the map, which is probably about twice the size of the original Hollow Knight map, so that's pretty cool. Obviously, you can expect lots of new bosses, lots of new enemy types, lots of new platforming challenges, along with the new ability to throw out your needle and then zip to it, which I believe the character did in the first game as well, but we just weren't able to control her, right? They also said that the game is going to be coming September 4th, 2025, of course. Most likely 2025, unless it gets delayed for some reason. But so that is going to be coming soon. Like, that is kind of crazy. It's coming soon here. And I'm glad that they did their own reveal for it. Like, they didn't shove this into Gamescom. They didn't put it into a Nintendo Direct. Like, I'm glad that they put it as their own thing. Like, hey, this is our thing. This is not Nintendo's project. This is not Jeff Keighley's, project. This is not Xbox Game Pass's project. This is our project, and we're revealing the release date, and we're revealing new gameplay, and we're doing all this. So that's what I really liked about this, was the fact that they took control of their own IP, and they said, no, we will not be giving it to anyone else to reveal the release date. We are revealing the release date. Get hyped. And a lot of people are excited about this, of course, but there's some thoughts going around that the game is going to disappoint. I mean, we've been waiting 7 years for this thing. Some people are kind of worried that the game is going to. I don't feel like at all that this game is going to disappoint. I feel like this game is going to be very much highly regarded, and I guess we'll see when the game does finally release on September 4th. And actually, a lot of people have already played the game. It was actually available to play at that. I believe was it at Gamescom? Yeah, it was at Gamescom. There was actually times you could play the game, which is actually pretty cool. So people already have the game in their hands, already playing it. Haven't heard anything bad so far. I'm sure it's going to be very good. So yeah, don't forget that I believe it is still coming to Xbox Game Pass. So if you want to check it out there you go. But also the game is going to be like $40 on all the other platforms. And finally, for what was announced at that game showcase, Kirby Air Riders had a full-on direct. It was like a 40-minute direct with Sakurai out there talking about his game, and he actually had a lot of interesting things to say. Starting off, apparently Nintendo approached him to develop this game instead of the other way around. Well, I thought it was the one for me, one for you type mentality, with like Smash Ultimate being for Nintendo and Kirby Air Riders being for him, but it's kind of crazy. So Nintendo asked him to do this game. And he also even brings up the point, like, hey, you just put out a Mario Kart game, or you are in development of a Mario Kart game. This is another racing game. Like, do you really want to put 2 racing games out in the first couple months of the Switch 2's lifespan? And Nintendo was like, yes, we do. So Sakurai got the work, and he essentially took the formula of the GameCube original game, Kirby Air Rider, and he spruced it up. And I feel like the game is looking really, really good. So, of course, the original game, it was just like a bunch of multicolored Kirbys you could use, but now there are multiple characters you can use in the game. And they kind of had like a Smash Brothers type way of announcing them. So it was like, shoo, Kirby, and then it was like, shoo, King Dedede. Like they had the names popping up: Meta Knight, Bandana, Waddle Dee, Chef, Kawasaki, Cappy, which is a mushroom cap, Magalore, Gooey, Waddle Doo, Knuckle Joe, Susie, and Starman were all the characters who were announced so far. They also announced that each character was going to have their own ultimate ability. So you would fill up an ultimate gauge, and then they would have like a crazy attack that featured something from them. So like the chef guy would throw food onto the track and run over it, and it would do like fire damage or whatever. And so just ways to kind of catch up with your competition and or hinder them if they're around you. The game still retains its basic control philosophy of one button to go, and use the control stick to do things. So he went into detail. So B, you boost charge. So it's kind of like when you're going around a corner, you hold down B, and it kind of acts as like a drift as you charge your boost, and you boost forward. Or at the beginning of the race, you charge boost and let it go when the race starts. Tilting the left stick up or down will change the height of your glide. Of course, left and right will change the direction of it. They also added the special button, which is how you use your ultimate gauge. So he wanted to make sure that people knew that he was sorry he had to add another button, because he loves making Kirby games a bit more basic for a younger audience, right? So he added in one extra button, which is the Y button for doing the special. You also use the Y button during city trial mode to dismount from your vehicle. There is, of course, a tutorial section for the game to teach you how the game works. They also talked about a bunch of the machines that you'll use. So you get the Warp Star, you get the Wing Star, the Wagon Star, the Wheelie Bike, the Shadow Star, the Paper Star, the Bulk Star, the Swerve Star, the Chariot, the Tank, the Turbo, the Slick, the Rocket, the Rex Wheelie, and the Battle Chariot. All these are different machines you could use to have different abilities and or different buffs or weaknesses. This is more important, I believe, for the city mode, which is actually very, very cool. So essentially, during City Trial, you're going to run around the sandbox, much like the original game, grab boosts to boost your character in different areas, and then also make the best machine that you can. I believe they also brought back the 3 pieces for the Ultimate Glider. I don't remember seeing that though, but it could be a secret in there. But essentially, you have about 5 minutes to run around the city, gathering up things to increase your melee or your air glide or your drag or whatever, and then there's also like special events that will happen, like you can battle each other, or there's like a mini race or whatever to also give you extra boosts in the game as well. And then depending on what the ending stadium is will determine who wins. So essentially, there's like these little books hidden around the map that you can collect that'll give you a hint as to what the last, like the stadium is going to be. It is still random, but you get a hint as to what it's going to be. And there are a couple different stadiums. So there's Kirby Melee, which means you need to defeat the most foes in the time limit. Air Glider, which is launching off of a ramp and gliding as far as you can. Drag Race, which means driving as fast as you can in a straight line. Target Flight, which is hitting the score panels to earn points, I guess, while gliding around. Dust Up Derby, defeat as many rivals as you can within the time limit. Skydive, dive quickly and get the high score by hitting targets. And Gourmet Race, eat as much food as you can. So those are the different finales there that you can get for the stadium mode, or I'm sorry, city trial mode. So like I said, it's very much like, okay, make sure you get the right upgrades, try and figure out what the final thing is going to be, and also participate in those open world matchups to get extra stuff the better you do. They also announced for the first time in Kirby history, every character can use copy abilities. So every character, no matter if they're DDD or Bandana Waddle Dee, can suck up enemies and use their abilities. Fire, Sword, Bomb, Wheel, Mike, Cutter, Jet, Steel Ball, and Plasma are all things you can grab on the field and use as offensive or defensive capabilities, which is pretty cool. The regular air ride mode also looks very good as well. Grind rails in there, various track layouts. When you're just looking at the maps themselves, they do look a bit barren, and I believe it was just because the original like Floria Fields level that they showed off, it's like a starter level, kind of getting you into the game. But once they added in the racers and Sakurai was actually playing a lap of that, it looked very chaotic, almost on the same level as the Knockout Tour mode, which I think is really cool for Mario Kart World, of course. So yeah, I think that's going to be a pretty cool racing experience. They did show off 4 tracks. I'm sure there'll be more, but one of them is Floria Fields, Cavernous Corners, Cyber Ion Highway, and Mount Amber Falls, and all of them looked pretty cool looking. So at the end of all this, they announced that the main theme song is going to be on the Nintendo Music app later that same day, Starlit Journey, if you want to listen to that. And they also revealed that the release date was going to be November 20th, 2025. So we have our November release. So October is Pokemon, November is Kirby. So what does that make December? Does that mean December is Metroid Prime 4? I don't know. Also, what's coming out next month, September? I forget right now. It'll come back to me in a dream. But anyway, looked pretty good. Got me interested. I will probably I'm going to pick up this game when it comes out because I love the original game. I do hope that they add it to the original game to the GameCube Nintendo Online. I think that would be really cool. If they don't, it might be a bit of a missed opportunity for them because it could get you into the experience and ease you into controls a bit better if you have that knowledge going in. But, if it's between Kirby Air Rider and Chibi Robo, I'm glad we got Chibi Robo, But, yeah. So that is it for that, folks. Let's go ahead and move on to what's in the news. We have a couple of news articles here. First one being Bungie's boss, Pete Parsons, has departed the studio. This comes, of course, after the article from a couple weeks ago at this point where Sony was taking more control over Bungie, and now they have pushed Pete Parsons out of the studio, and they have replaced him with Justin Truman, who is the former chief development officer of Bungie, so he's now becoming the CEO of Bungie. And he's got a bit of a tough job ahead of them. In a statement, he said, "When we're at our best, we create those worlds alongside you, our player community, and build something that matters, something that's worth your time, your passion, your investment in us, something that I've learned, hopefully, over-delivers. I've also been a part of these efforts at Bungie when we've maybe not been at our best, when we stumbled and realized through listening to our community that we have missed the mark. I know I've personally learned a lot over the years, as have all of us here, from those conversations." I would read the parting CEO's statements, but in 2016, he had a scandal, which was kind of weird. He spent $2.4 million on 25 cars, which people feel like it was part of the Bungie budget. And Bungie actually laid off 25% of its staff back in 2016 after before this came out. So people were like, that's kind of awkward. So I'm not going to read his departing message, but you can read it yourself if you so desire. Hopefully this means that Marathon will get back on track and we'll maybe see a re-reveal and a re-release date for that. Probably at the beginning of next year, I'm feeling. Probably beginning of next year, we'll see like a new date for it and all that. And it'll probably come out during the summertime of next year. If I was a betting man, which I'm not, if I was a betting man, I'd say it's coming out in summer. All right, the next packs for the Pokemon TCG Pocket will be out soon. They are Gen 2 themed, featuring Suicune, Entei, and Raikou, the 3 legendary Pokemon from that series. These booster packs will be available on the 28th of August. It's called Secluded Springs. Now, I believe there's only one pack for these, which is great because we recently had the 2-pack, and I am still not done with that 2-pack. And I will be honest that the drop rates for these packs have gotten worse since I last talked about it. Did I get a few hits this past week? Yep, that's kind of how it goes. You get a few hits here and there, and then they tank you for the rest of the week, I guess. So hopefully they'll adjust the rates for the other pack because there are still if you haven't played Pokemon TCG Pocket, let me kind of explain this real quick. There are different types of rarities for cards. So you have like your regular Pokemon that are usually 1 to 3 diamond, right? And then you have your kind of quote unquote holographic cards that are 4 diamond, and they're the more rare. They're a little bit more rare than the basic cards. And then you have your EX cards, which are your stars. You have 1 star, 2 star rarity, and then you have your Full Arts, which are 3 to 4 star rarity, and then you have your shiny cards, which are the most rare, which are these shiny stars rarities. The drop rates for even the basic cards in this last set were abysmal. There's still some single diamond cards that I do not have, and I could buy them with the pack points, but I don't want to do that because I'm saving up for the EX cards that I want doubles of or whatever. I don't want to spend my pack points on the basic shit cards that I should get just by opening these packs. I've opened 50 of these packs, I feel so far, and they haven't given me just the base set stuff yet. It's just so annoying. So you're going to have to rely on Wonder Picks or trading when it becomes available, and that is so fucking annoying. I love this game so much, but why do they have to be so stingy on this shit? It doesn't even make sense. It's digital cards. It's digital fucking cards. It doesn't matter that much. Anyway, let's look at the abilities of the EX versions of these legendary Pokemon. So each one has the same ability, which is drawing a card if the Pokemon is in the active spot, which is pretty good. These are all basic Pokemon, so you can use the Pokeball to get them out of your deck if you so desire. Raikou, he has this attack does 10 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon for 60 regular damage, which isn't too bad. Blazing Beatdown. If this Pokemon has at least 2 extra energy attached to it, the attack does 60 more damage, which means it'll be about 120 damage, all things said and done, which is pretty stinking good for a basic Pokemon. Suicune Crystal Waltz does 20 damage times the 20 for each benched Pokemon, which is actually pretty good if you don't use this Pokemon first. If it's the first round and you use this attack, it could only do 20 damage, which is not very good. But if your opponent does start to set up their bench or you set up your bench, well, there you go. If you have 3 on your bench, that does 20, 40, 60, 80 damage. Not too bad. There's a couple other cards they showed off. One of them is the new basic Pokemon that doesn't require any energy to retreat or to use their ability, which is Mantike, which takes water energy from your energy zone and attaches it to one of your benched Pokemon, which is always a good thing. These Pokemon, there's a couple of them in the last set as well. They're only 30 HP, and yes, they are free to retreat, but they're very vulnerable. They're very vulnerable. Fampi, also, they showed off this card. It does damage to your opponent's active Pokemon equal to the damage that Fampi has on it. And you can also boost that by putting like a cape on them or whatever, which is, it's not too bad. It's not too bad at all. And then the last one that I'll read out here is Milotic, which has an ability to, once per your turn, when you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon, you may heal 60 damage to one of your water Pokemon. That's not too bad. It also does 60 damage for 2 energy, which isn't bad at all. So it looks like the meta is going to change with these new legendary Pokemon coming around, and the other Pokemon in the set are probably going to be pretty good too. The meta didn't really change the last time the packs came around. I didn't really feel a change in the meta. I felt like it kind of stayed the same, but I feel like with this new Secluded Springs, some things are going to change, some decks are going to evolve, which is, fine. It's fine. Okay, Dying Light 2 is getting a new patch. Now, they've been talking about this for a while, and I thought they already had done this. But now, Dying Light 2 is officially updated so that stamina is no longer a problem during free roam things. There will still be stamina management when you are paragliding or doing combat or swimming underwater, but the restriction has been lifted pretty much everywhere else other than moments during the core main missions where the stamina does need to be, just for gameplay reasons, I guess, does need to be limited, which is pretty cool. This is something that I thought they had already done in the game, and when I booted up the game last year, they still had the stamina management there, which is very disappointing in my opinion. Like, it's just kind of a dumb thing to have in an open world game. Like, Dying Light 1 works so well because you could climb anywhere, you could do all these different things. It was a very versatile world to explore. And then they added in the stamina management into Dying Light 2, and it's like, well, now I can't reach this place because I don't have enough stamina for that, or now I can't do this, so I have to run past it and go back. I feel like the flow of the gameplay was really altered by that. I don't mind there being stamina for swinging your weapon and swimming underwater. Like, that kind of stuff seems normal to me. But just doing parkour and stuff like that, this is a great improvement to the game, in my opinion. So yeah, there's two specific quests called Pilgrim's Path and Markers of the Plague, which will still have stamina that'll impact your parkour, which probably means it's probably for those ones where maybe they're set in like the open world and they don't want you going too far off the beaten path or something like that. But yeah, in a press release they said this update seeks to balance exploration and combat, ensuring that players can navigate the environment smoothly while managing their stamina during critical gameplay moments. Will this make me go back to Dying Light 2? Honestly, maybe. We'll see. And finally, for the news today, Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection, they did it. They added in the 2 PlayStation 1 games that I was talking about last week that are the worst of the series, and those are Mortal Kombat Mythologies Sub-Zero and Mortal Kombat Special Forces. These are 2 games that I was actually hoping would be on this collection because they just fit so well with all the other ones being on there. And these games have also not been re-released. I do not believe they are on GOG or anything like that. I believe they have not been re-released. And you can correct me if I'm wrong, of course. But this is really, really cool. I like this. I like this a lot. This will also mean that it might be easier to get through these games by having, save states and stuff like that. That could also be a good way to go back and replay these games and try them out. Obviously, these games have very bad reputations. I've watched videos on them. I've seen gameplay of them. I've done the whole bout. Am I still interested in playing them? Yes, very much so. I want to play these games. They look either so bad that they could be funny to play, or they'll be so bad that I rip my hair out. But either way, I think it's really cool that they are adding these to the game, and I'm very excited to see, where it goes. See how it goes, I should say. Both games were released on the PS1 in 1997. They're side-scroller games with platforming challenges. So there you go. So they also showed off the on Reddit. I guess I saw this on Reddit. They showed off the screen for the games. It's pretty basic. There's nothing really too crazy there, of course. But there's also like a a game library that goes through like all the details. I believe the manuals are all scanned into it as well, which is pretty cool. Background stuff as well, maybe some videos to watch. Cool stuff. I think that when this game was first announced, this Mortal Kombat re-release was first announced, they only had like 4 games in the whole thing, and like that was kind of like, okay, you kind of need to add more to this collection in order to make it worth it, right? But now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 games plus all their different versions. So I think that now I believe it's a good deal. People are asking, what about the PS2 titles? Why aren't you doing the PS2 titles? And it's the same reason that like the Yu-Gi-Oh games didn't do the DS titles or the PS2 titles on that collection. And it's because they're very different games. The PS2 games, they're 3D. They have 3D environments and they have 3D models and all this stuff, like more in depth and more detailed models. And I feel like if they're gonna put it into an engine, like an emulation engine, they probably need to tweak a lot of it. So I feel like it's a good idea to release those PS2 titles separately in a future collection, which I think they very much should do. And I'm hoping if they do the PS2 collection, it does include all the like spin-offs as well. Like we played Shaolin Monks back last year, which was kind of bullshit at the end. But if there was like a save state type thing, I would have been fine. But because there was no save state, I got screwed over and over again. But games like that are pretty cool, and they're unique for the Mortal Kombat series that we know now, because once Mortal Kombat 9 came around, there was like no more spin-offs like ever. It was all just like regular fighting games. So if we can get the PS2 era stuff and maybe even like re-release some of those PS3 games like Marvel DC versus Mortal Kombat or whatever, like would be kind of cool. So let me go over all the games in this collection once more, just to get it all out there. Mortal Kombat for the arcade, SNES, Genesis, Game Boy, and Game Gear. Mortal Kombat 2 for the arcade, SNES, Genesis, Game Boy, and 32X. Mortal Kombat 3 for arcade, SNES, and Genesis. Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 for the arcade and SNES. Mortal Kombat Trilogy for the PS1. Mortal Kombat 4 for arcades. Mortal Kombat Mythology Sub-Zero on the PS1. Mortal Kombat Special Forces on the PS1, Mortal Kombat Advance on the Game Boy Advance, Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance on the Game Boy Advance, and Mortal Kombat Tournament Edition on the Game Boy Advance. I'm pretty happy with this list. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Let's go ahead and move on to what's coming soon. Yes, I'm doing what's coming soon instead of talking about the games I played this past week. I'll save that for the end of the show. Once Upon a Katamari, they showed off their opening cinematic, which looks very good. The series creator, Kaita Takahashi, isn't involved with this game, but it seems like they did keep the style and music from the original Katamari games intact, and that's, more than I can ask for. I am very excited to play this one, especially after playing so many Katamari games in the past 2 years, like I'm very much invested in the series, and I very much love the Katamari series. And they did reveal that the game is coming to PlayStation. I believe it's coming to digitally to Xbox as well, but it is coming to PlayStation and Switch, which I really think is a great idea. I was kind of worried that it was just going to be a Switch, version only, but they did announce it is coming to PS5. So I am going to buy the PS5 version and not the Switch version, pretty much just because, the Switch version seemed to maybe not run as good from the trailer that they showed off. But the cinematic trailer does look very fun. Looks very joyous. Looks very jovial. You know me, I love my Katamari games. Even like bad Katamari games are fun in my opinion. And it is releasing on October 24th, so it's not too far off. And I did pre-order it. I did. We'll see how that is when it comes out. High on Life 2 got a new 40 plus minutes of gameplay and a release date. The release date is going to be February 13th. Yeah, so if you want to check it out, then that'll be February 13th next year. Squanch Games showed off, like I said, 40 minutes of unedited footage. A lot of it kind of looks very similar to the original High on Life, but also at the same time, there are different things about the game. Obviously, a bunch of new weapons to use and new versions of weapons to use. I believe now you can transform the weapon into a bit of a different style, I think. It seems like they kept some of the weapons from the original game, and then they also added in a bunch of new ones and also new versions of the weapons in the game as well, which is pretty cool. In the press release, they said you're up on your way to a celebrity endorsement event when a new bounty alert pops up on the network for your sister, Lizzie. She's been busy, too, building up her reputation as a freedom fighter / terrorist, depending on your perspective. After some secret things happen, you're now the bad guy. Fortunately, you're armed with an arsenal of talking weapons, which are a mix of new and returning favorites, including Knifey, Sweezy, Gus, and making his debut at Gamescom, Sheath, who is being voiced by Ralph Ineson. So, of course, they had to replace Justin Roiland in the game. He did the voice acting for, the first gun you get. He has some weird allegations against him. Tend not to really dive into those things too much, but I think the gameplay looks good. It looks fresh. It looks a bit different from the original game, even though it is very similar boomer shooter style. And I do like the new visual style of the characters talking to you, they come up in a little hologram on the side. And the graphics also look a lot better in this game too. They definitely improved the graphics and stuff like that. So, yeah, that's coming out February 13th. I might pick this one up, might try it out. I remember the original game came to Game Pass when it first came out. Hopefully this one does too. I would have hated to have to buy the first game because I'm not a huge fan of High on Life 1. It got really boring about halfway through because it was really the same thing over and over again. But the variety of guns and the general comedy of the game, it holds up, but there's a lot of just samey stuff going on through the gameplay and stuff like that. Hell Let Loose is releasing a new game for Vietnam, which is we don't get a lot of Vietnam games anymore. Either there's indie games that are a bit different than a first-person shooter, or we haven't. I feel like there hasn't been a major first-person shooter Vietnam game since the what was it called? It was by the same people who did Red Orchestra. They did a Vietnam game, Rising Sun. I don't remember. The specific name, but yeah, so it's going to be a new tactical shooter in Vietnam. If you don't know what Hell Let Loose is, it's a World War II tactical shooter, which means that it's hardcore, quick kills, quick deaths, but also very much team based. And when I played Hell Let Loose last year, or was it earlier this year? It's hard to remember at this point. Everything's kind of blurring together. I enjoyed the game, but it wasn't something that I was going to play a lot unless other people joined me, and no one else really wanted to play. But this new Hell Let Loose Vietnam, looking pretty cool. I mean, I know it was a cinematic trailer. They showed off a little bit of gameplay here and there, but if it's the same quality as Hell Let Loose, should be a good time. So, yeah, that is coming in 2026, so you can wishlist it now. All right, Halo ODST is officially in Helldivers 2 now, and it wasn't as grandiose as I was hoping for when I was talking about it last week with Covenant forces being thrown in there. Maybe in the future, I don't know. But they did have a new war bond, which includes some stuff from ODST, including the A9 Helljumper armor set, the A35 Recon armor set, the MA5C assault rifle, the M75 SMG, and the M90A shotgun. Also, a new secondary weapon, the M6C SOCOM pistol. A new armor passive called Feet First, which I'm not sure what that does. 2 new player banners, Eye of the Clandestine and Honored Heirloom. Also, 2 new capes for both Eye of the Clandestine and Honored Heirloom. A new title called Rookie. And then a couple new patterns called Mean Green. I guess it's just a new pattern called Mean Green for a couple of vehicles in the game, the FRV, the Exosuit, the Shuttle, and the Hell Pod. So I think it's a pretty cool armor set, pretty cool addition to the game. Also, like, it's kind of crazy how quickly this came out after the studio went back to being on their own instead of being under Sony's banner. Like, that's pretty cool. And maybe we'll see some Gears of War stuff in the game for the Gears of War remaster. Probably not, but Halo ODST, though, which, you know that Helldivers 2 seemed very inspired by, 1, Halo, and 2, ODST, specifically because of the way that the armors are in the game and stuff like that. But it was also very much inspired by Starship Troopers 2, don't get me wrong, but there, when you're playing the game, especially nowadays, you can really see, like, okay, it definitely has a bit of an ODST flavor in there as well. So yeah, if you want to check that out, those are available August 26th in the form of a new Legendary War Bond. All right, there are 20 new Battlefield 6 items in Battlefield 2042, which you can actually earn now for free. There's a free, I guess, season pass or whatever that you can participate in, and leading up to the release of Battlefield 6. So starting today until October 7th, you'll be able to earn over 50 rewards for Battlefield 2042, but about 20 specific rewards for Battlefield 6, including skins and calling tags or dog tags and stuff like that, which is pretty cool. If you took part in the Battlefield 6 beta, you gain access to the Lynx sniper rifle in Battlefield 2042 right away, so that's also pretty cool. As well as they reimagined the Iwo Jima map from Battlefield 5, which also includes a new weapon to unlock, the KFS 2000, which is also free in the Battle Pass, along with the A-10 Warthog and the Su-25TM Frogfoot Jumper Fighter Jet, which has been brought out of the Battlefield Vault. So that's pretty cool. So there you go. Battlefield 6 tier unlocks are at 8, 19, 30, 40, 49, and 60. Alongside that, there are other themed things for Battlefield 1, 5, Bad Company 2, Battlefield 3, and 4, which is also pretty cool. So this has gotten me to go back to Battlefield 2042. Yes, actually. I have been playing some Battlefield 2042, trying to earn those Battlefield 6 freebies. It does take a little while because it is XP-based, but if you have a good match, you can level up an entire tier in a matter of a few matches. So look, Battlefield 2042 is not my favorite Battlefield game. I don't think it's a lot of people's favorite Battlefield game. But in general, I think it plays pretty well. The Iwo Jima map is pretty cool, and that's kind of where everyone is right now. If you try and matchmake for random matches, it does take a little while because the game isn't, like, super popular. But, like, in terms of, like, people's aggressive hate towards the game, like, I get why they don't like it. It's because it did go, quick kill kind of scenario, weird futuristic guns, lots of different crazy things they added in there, being able to call in vehicles wherever you want to, kind of like, just things that people didn't really like about the game. Personally, I still enjoy the game. I'm not, like, super crazy about it, but I do enjoy the game, and I think that it's like $2 on Steam right now. It's like, come on, you really, they're giving you a whole game for $2. Like, come on now. That being said, though, I understand not wanting to go back and play 2042, and personally, after playing Battlefield 6, 2042 feels worse. Like, last year when I played it without the context of Battlefield 6, I was like, oh, Battlefield 2042 feels fine. It is a bit COD-coded, but it feels fine. After playing Battlefield 6, though, Yeah, I mean the feel of the game is like not amazing, but I'll play through the event. Hopefully, I'll be able to get all the things unlocked for Battlefield 6. Now, I'm not going to be spending as much time as I did last year on Battlefield 2042, simply because there's a lot of games that are coming out this year, and it just seems not the most important thing to play a lot of Battlefield 2042. But I'll play it here and there to try and earn those new things for Battlefield 6 because. I think they look pretty cool. There's a couple of skins in there that look cool, and there's a couple other things that are interesting that I would like to unlock. So there you go. Sony has announced that they are working with 4 game developers to help publish their games from the Middle East and North Africa. Over the past year, Sony has been working to identify and support original voices and empower creators from emerging regions to tell their stories in games. One of these games is called Red Bandits from a team in Saudi Arabia. Red Bandits is a fast-paced robbery action game set in a hyper-capitalistic age where where one company rules the world through complete monopoly. In this world, a newly formed thieves organization known as Red Bandits emerge and challenge the system and spark rebellion. You play as Stut, a seasoned old thief with a stuttering condition and a mysterious past he can't fully remember. So that's a pretty cool one. Another one called NC's Solution, coming from the United Arab Emissaries. This is inspired by a techno-dystopian aesthetic. NC's Solution is a hand-painted 2.5D narrative platformer following the story of Jaway, a young Aeon venturing out into the unknown in an attempt to save his dearest friend, stumbling upon NC, a lost encyclopedic robot who finds himself far from home. The two form an unusual bond and set out together to go to the surface of the planet Regalia. So it looks like it's a bit of a Metroidvania. Also has some hardcore platforming sections in there as well, which is kind of cool. The art style, pan painted, definitely can tell that by looking at the trailers as well. A game called The Perfect Run from a studio in Tunisia is coming out. This is about saving the world or blow yourself up, one loop at a time. The Perfect Run is an action RPG game where the player controls Quick Save, a time-traveling hero caught in an epic struggle between supervillain gangs, marketed superheroes, and a powerful mega corporation for the control of the city of New Rome. So it sounds like a bit of like a roguelite adventure where you restart after every death or something like that to get the perfect loop. Could be kind of cool. And then finally, A Cat's Manor, coming from a studio in Bahrain. This is A Cat's Manor is oh my god, A Cat's Manor is an atmospheric adventure that blends puzzles, combat, crafting, and rhythm-based music challenges. Use your wits to escape the manor, investigate your surroundings, solve puzzles, fight your way through deadly encounters, or outsmart your foes and avoid trouble. The game kind of feels inspired by Resident Evil 7 because of the family of characters that are in the game or whatever. But yeah, kind of an interesting idea. This whole conglomeration is being unveiled as the Mina project. Executive Hector Fernandez is quoted as saying, "We believe that great games can come from anywhere. Through the Mina Hero Project, we're committed to unlocking the region's potential, support locally inspired experiences with the power to captivate players around the world." Most of these games are coming to PS5 and PC. Doesn't seem like any of them are coming to Xbox right away, probably because of Sony's funding. But still, they look pretty interesting. All right, Stalker 2 has finally got a release date for the PS5, and that is November 20th. I believe this was announced sometime during Gamescom, if I remember correctly. The trailer was pretty funny. Essentially, it was a guy playing Stalker 2 on a controller, and it turns out to be the PS5. So, it's coming the 20th of November, 2025. There are 3 different versions. The standard edition for $60, the deluxe edition, which includes a deluxe weapon and suit pack, side quest, and art book and soundtrack, and an ultimate edition for $110, which includes all the content of the deluxe game, deluxe edition, plus the season pass. So, if you want to check that out, you can pre-order those on the PlayStation's digital store. And also, Satisfactory is getting a console release. The game hit 1.0 launch in 2024, and they've been working on bringing the game to other consoles. And now on November 4th, Satisfactory is coming to Xbox and PlayStation for the first time ever. So if you want to check that out, the game will be fully playable in co-op, and it will also have all of the latest updates from the base game itself. So there you go. You can check that out for, I believe it's like 60, 50 bucks. It doesn't say. So maybe check it out if you want to. All right, Halloween is the latest of horror movie classes to get a video game adaptation. This time it's coming from the same people who brought us Killer Clowns from Outer Space, the video game. This is going to be Halloween, a single-player and multiplayer horror experience coming 2026. They didn't show off too much about the game. I'm wondering if it's going to be one of those kind of like Friday the 13th or Predator Hunting Ground type games where it's a 1v4 situation, and one person will be Michael Myers. Here it says right here. Just read, Yemmy. 1v4 mode, which one person plays as Michael while the others try to stop the murderous rampage. So I guess the idea is not just to hide from Michael, but also stop him in his tracks. So that's kind of a cool idea. There's no details about the single player mode just yet, but I feel like it's going to maybe utilize that space and have you take down Michael Myers solo in a couple of different areas, but we'll see. So like I said, that's coming 2026. No confirmed release date just yet, but this is like the first Halloween game we've gotten since... there was that Retro Realms game that came out last year that I didn't really enjoy, but should be kind of cool. We'll see how that goes. A game called Bad Cheese is a new survival horror game coming out in the same style as, you guessed it, the original Mickey Mouse short. This is the next game or next thing in media that is based off of that old chiptune type style or whatever they call it, rubber hose type style. I apologize. And it does actually include, on the TV is playing the entirety of the original Mickey Mouse short. But it looks like Pluto is going to be one of the monsters like trying to chase you around. Of course, there's also a giant like cheese wheel, I guess, that's maybe sentient. But you play as like this big mouse, this fat mouse, who was just trying to run around and hide from things. This is coming September 1st. Some key features: face your demons, your mom, dad, and brother, and the rest of the demons. Try not to cause problems so you don't be punished. Help around the house: scrub, sweep, clean, make fries, kill spiders, bring daddy his pills, find hidden treasures, and just try to get by. So apparently it's a bit different than I was expecting, but it's the same idea where you're just trying to steer clear of these like crazy monster things, and it's almost like a Slenderman thing where you collect things and maybe they get more aggravated along the way. I don't know. Either way, though, kind of crazy that this is like Steamboat Willie inspired, and it does actually include the entirety of Steamboat Willie in the game files, which is pretty crazy there too. So yeah, that's coming September 1st to PC and all consoles. There you go. And next up is Shinobi Art of Vengeance is going to be getting DLC for Eggman. That's right. So this game hasn't even come out yet, Shinobi Art of Vengeance. But they already announced that there will be DLC in 2026, adding in new levels and a new boss fight for the Sonic man himself, Dr. Eggman. It looks like the level is going to be themed around, there's like green hill zones in the background of this like still image here, which could be kind of cool. But we'll see when that does come out in the future. Obviously, Sega has been trying to cross over their games multiple times here. So maybe we'll see more things coming around from different Sega games, like maybe Like a Dragon or something like that. So, well, I guess we'll wait and see. But as of right now, that is DLC planned for 2026 for Shinobi Art of Vengeance, which is kind of cool, kind of cute. And then finally, for what's coming soon, there's actually another bonus game for PlayStation Plus, which is actually available now to play. The game is the Rogue Prince of Persia, which comes from the same team who helped work on Dead Cells. So this will be available for $30 if you want to just buy it separately, or you can play it with the PlayStation Plus Extra program. The game is out right now. You can actually play it right now. When I played the Rogue Prince of Persia, it was in an early access mode. I believe they've really updated the game and made it into a better experience now. It was still a fun game when it came out, but it wasn't really something that I was going to invest too much time into. But yeah, I think after all these updates they've done to the game, it might be a very good time to play it now more than ever. And that's coming soon. Let's go ahead and jump into what I've been playing this past week. All right, I finished Donkey Kong Bonanza. And I'm not going to spoil anything, but just know that the end of the game was everything I was dreaming of and more. I kind of figured there was something else going on in this game throughout the at least the ending like few segments that I was like there's definitely something more nefarious going on. And when we reached the center's core, the planet's core, I kind of figured like, yeah, that little plant there doesn't look like a plant to me. But I would say see for yourself because Donkey Kong Bonanza is a excellent experience. It is such a blast all the way through, like from start to end. It is such a blast. Just the ability to punch through all these different surfaces and do all these different things in your own way, while also puzzle solving with like various environmental hazards and different Bonanza abilities. Like it all just melded together so perfectly, in my opinion. And once again, going to compare this to Mario Odyssey. I feel like Donkey Kong Bonanza, I felt more rewarded for getting bananas. I felt more rewarded for finding everything on the map. I felt more rewarded for doing these various things. Like with Mario Odyssey, it just felt like, okay, it's a checklist. I'm checking off the moons on my list here. There's 5 billion of them. And with Donkey Kong Bonanza, like, it just, when I find a banana during, just playing the game, it was like, yeah, that was fun to get to. I really like getting to that. Like, sure, there are some of them that are still like kind of out in the open, but for the most part, there was always like a thing you had to do, a secret you had to uncover, a enemy you had to defeat, or something like that. Something to give these bananas purpose, right? And they also give you skill points as well when you collect enough of them. So there's also another reason to get your banana on. And I got through the entirety of the game. I didn't collect everything, but I did do a pretty good job of combing these areas for everything, like the various bananas, the what are they called, relics or whatever they are, the fossils. I'm sorry, the fossils, and also trying to buy as many of the outfits and stuff that I could as well. And I felt like I felt very pleased by the end of the game. And when they announced that there was more content to do afterwards, I was happy. I was like, okay, let's freaking go. So once you beat the game, you can go back through those various Bonanza challenges, and there's a new challenge on top of that because Pauline's trying to write a new song for whatever. And so you go to each of the Bonanza guys, and depending on how many bananas you've collected throughout the game, you can unlock their Bonanza replay or whatever, where you do like a harder challenge in these like vast, very long levels. And I found, like, I've done 2 of them so far. I've done the Kong Bonanza and the Zebra Bonanza one, and they have been really fun. Like, they are actually challenging. They do have challenge to them, and they are really cool. They're really fun. So I'm planning on doing all of those and seeing the true ending, quote unquote. But so far, up until this point, just a fantastic experience. Like, I love Donkey Kong Bonanza. It is such a good game. I had such a fun time playing through it. It's been so long since we've had a Donkey Kong 3D adventure, and this one came out swinging, and it just kept swinging all the way through. It has so many fun boss fights. It has so many fun character moments. So many good songs in there. So many fun enemies to fight. The levels kept getting more and more progressively difficult as you went on, all the way leading up to a very, very awesome like final boss, like multi-tier battle, which just was so fucking cool. Okay, so fucking cool. And as a Donkey Kong fan, a longtime Donkey Kong fan of both country and the 3D platformer games, it just was really a perfect ending that I could not have asked for anything better, really. And I just, there's just so much about this game that I love. I love the challenge like rooms where you do, like, it's almost like Donkey Kong 64 style, where you fight enemies in an arena. I love the special levels, especially the ones that were inspired by Donkey Kong Country, where they were like side scrollers and you go into the barrels and stuff like that. They had like the Bramble song in the background, like so cool. I loved all the different outfits you can get and how they all uniquely help you throughout the game, throughout each area. I thought Pauline was she was so cute, and I loved her line delivery and and her abilities as well. I enjoyed the boss fights, even though they were a bit short because you could literally plow through them with the Kong Bonanza sometimes. I like the ideas of them and the design of them really morphing together, like the idea of here's what you can use to you can punch through, and here's what you can't punch through, and here's what you need a special thing for. So I really love that. One of my favorite boss battles was the one where you're throwing salt at like the ooze monster. I thought that was one of the more fun ones in the game too. But I enjoyed most of the boss fights, if not all of them. I like all the bonanzas. I think the snake bonanza is the one I used the least of, but all the other ones I used quite a lot throughout the game. I like the skill tree upgrade system. I enjoyed all the different environments you go to, all the different new characters that they put into the game. I was hoping for a bit more Diddy Kong and Dixie Kong, but maybe they're saving that for maybe some DLC in the future, or maybe another game. The thing about saying like, oh, there could be DLC in the future, we said the same thing about Mario Odyssey, and we never got DLC for Mario Odyssey. So I feel like me saying like, oh, maybe we'll get Dixie and Diddy Kong DLC doesn't seem likely because of the track record with Mario Odyssey and this development team, but we'll see. The music off the charts, the gameplay so much fun, the exploration so much fun. Yeah, I mean it's a perfect game in my opinion. It's an easy 5 out of 5 for me. Not only because I am a big fan of Donkey Kong, but also because the game itself did everything that I wanted Mario Odyssey to be, but better. And it doesn't have an enormous amount of it does have a lot of collectibles for sure, but I felt it was more natural getting them. I felt like they were more uniquely hidden and had unique things based around them. I felt like personally it did everything that Mario Odyssey did, but better. And I think the main thing that the game has, which is the main selling point, is the fact that you can just punch through all this like ground and dirt and stuff like that. Like it really makes the exploration kind of 4-dimensional, right? Like you're going underground, you're digging through the ground and stuff like that. Like I just really enjoyed how unique the traversal was and how the game just played so well. It really did. Minus some areas where the frame rate dropped a bit, which was usually when the game like grabbed your camera and was like, "Hey, look over here." It would kind of do a frame rate drop, but other than that, I really didn't have any technical issues or anything like that. So I am very, very happy with the game. I also really like the new enemy like Kongs they put in the game, Grumpy and Void Kong and stuff like that. I like their designs. I like their characters. Just really, really fun stuff in there. And I can't wait. I mean, it's going to, hopefully it's not another, 10-year, 15-year wait for another 3D Donkey game. Hopefully it's not another, however many long since Tropical Freeze came out, wait as well for the next Donkey Kong game. But I do feel like Donkey Kong Bonanza has sold well enough that we'll probably get a new 2D Donkey Kong game probably in the next couple of years. I'm going to say probably pin this 3 to 4 years later, we're going to get a announcement for a 2D Donkey Kong game. That is my prediction. It's going to be continuing off of the Tropical Freeze style of the game, and I'm thinking more so like 3, maybe 3.5 years, right? So fingers crossed for that. But as of right now, I gave Donkey Kong Bonanza a 5 out of 5. I think it's a perfect game. I really enjoyed my time with it. I've been giving a lot of 5 out of 5s this year. I'm sorry. But it's just how I feel on these games. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, amazing experience. Exactly what I wanted from a sequel to Kingdom Come Deliverance. Really great story. Really fun gameplay. Really great designed open world, like really cool side missions and stuff like that. Like I just loved Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, okay? Expedition 33, unique game. Something that I'm not usually into, a JRPG essentially, but French. It's a French RPG. And it was just, the story is immaculate, the gameplay is great, the open world exploration is vast, and the graphical design and the design of like the enemies and characters are really cool too. That's another 5 out of 5. Like, yeah, there's just and most recently, Time Flies, an indie game about being a little fly and flying around. Like, I found nothing wrong with that game. I really enjoyed my time with it, and now Donkey Kong Bonanza joins that group of 5 out of 5s. So, yeah, very very happy about that. Very happy about how Donkey Kong Bonanza turned out, and I will be playing more of it to finish off the Bonanzas at least, and we'll go from there. I've also been playing Sword of the Sea this past week. This is the new game from the same people behind Journey and Abzu and Flower. And I very much am enjoying Sword of the Sea. It started out in a place that I was not expecting, per se, but it quickly became exactly what I was expecting from this developer. Just really vast, beautifully designed open areas, very weird and mystical kind of things going on, like the fish. After you unlock like the water, like the fish are above the water, like floating around in the sky, like stuff like that. The gameplay itself is very cool. You're gliding around on this sword over this vast desert, and you're trying to light up these lanterns to bring the water back. And when the water does come back, like the sand looks cool, but when the water comes back, you can actually like see through the water and see like the coral reefs underneath, and you can see like this pillar extends down to the bottom and stuff like that. There's so many cool things, and then also like things floating on the surface of the water just looks a lot better than the sand, right? But the main point of the game is to bring the water back to this area. Apparently, it's been quite a while since like a big battle took out both sides of the war. And you're trying to bring the life back to this area, and so you do that by bringing the water back and changing the desert into a watery area. And there's actually a lot of platforming in this game. I wasn't really expecting that. There's actually a lot of platforming. There's some pretty good story beats so far. Like really early on in the game, you see this like shadowy figure behind you, and you've been riding along on your sword this whole time, but he's holding his sword like a sword, like with its hilt, and it's like, what's gonna happen there? Play the game to find out. But I mean, just it has all the flair of an Abzu or a Journey as you would expect. There's these grandiose moments where you're riding on the back of a dolphin, and the dolphin is like can jump high, and it's just like the music is just so magical while you're cascading around these areas, and there's some puzzle elements in there as well. And oh yeah, it's just a really really good experience so far, and it definitely lives up to the repetition the reputation that this developer has for just smartly designed games that have amazing art styles, amazing music, and good stories to them. Even though they're not like spoken or whatever, they are still fantastic stories, both visually and cinematically. So if you have not played Sword of the Sea yet, I would recommend picking it up. It is a bit pricey in my opinion. It's like $40, which like I said, it's a bit pricey for me. I think when Journey came out, that was like 20, and I think when Abzu came out, that was like 30. I think Flower was like a $10 game, and Flow was even less. But yeah, I think it is a bit pricey. So if you want to wait for a sale, I understand completely. But the game is really good. Like the wait will be worth it in my opinion. So Sword of the Sea gets a thumbs up from me. Very much enjoying that so far. And Katamari Forever is the game that we streamed this past week and beat. I'm also playing Anthem. I'll talk about that when we finish that. But Katamari Forever, I gave the people in the Discord a choice. Do you want a PlayStation 3 game or do you want an Xbox 360 game? Little did they know is that I was secretly in the background pitting Katamari Forever up against Beautiful Katamari. Katamari Forever being the PS3 version, or exclusive, and Beautiful Katamari being the Xbox 360 game. And people chose the PS3 game, and I will say, like, Katamari Forever is a fun game. Like, as I said earlier, all Katamari games are fun to me. I love this series so far. It's been so fun. Katamari Forever, though, does have a few issues with it that I could not overlook. One of them being the jumping mechanic. They use the stupid 6-axis PS3 controller, and you need to go like this. You need to lift the controller up in order to get your little prince to jump, and it just does not work. Like I will sit there waving my arms around like a dumbass trying to get this thing to jump, like doing different jumping motions with the controller, and I just couldn't get it to go. But then randomly it would go once, and I wouldn't be ready for it, so I'd miss my jump. Jumping is not integral to the game, but it can get you out of sticky situations or get you up like steps and stuff like that. Maybe you're not big enough to like crawl up them yet. So I was really just wishing that they had mapped it to a button on the controller. But I get it. It's an early PS3 game. It's one of the first games to have trophy support on them. And it was also like, the time when PlayStation was like, hey, you need to put a motion control for the 6-axis controller. You need to put it into Ratchet and Clank. You need to put it into Heavenly Sword. You need to put it into, whatever. So, of course, they're going to be like, well, I guess if we have to use it, we'll use the jumping mechanic. So that was the main thing that I didn't really like about the game was the jumping mechanic, just being so finicky to pull off. The other thing that was kind of bugging me about the game was a lot of reused things from the past other games. So We Heart Katamari and Katamari Damacy both had levels in this game. There were some original things in the game too, don't get me wrong, but a lot of them came from those other two games, especially for the King side of things. And then they also had stuff from Me and My Katamari, which is the PSP game, in here as well, which I also played last year on my own time. So it was one of those things where it's like, I mean, they kind of remixed them a little bit. There's a different objective in this area than what we had in We Heart Katamari or whatever, but it is a lot of the same where you're just doing the same thing again. And especially after I played the original version of Katamari Damacy, then the remastered version, and then I played the remastered version of We Love Katamari. So it was a lot of like, I recently just played all three of those games, and playing those levels again in Katamari Forever was just kind of like, all right, just like not my favorite thing in the game. And it probably wouldn't be that way if the last game if I had only played like Katamari Damacy and Katamari We Heart Katamari, like, back in the day. But because I am playing these games so close together, it does become a bit taxing when it's like, okay, this is the same level that we've done in the last game. It's literally like exactly the same, So yeah, I was just kind of like iffy about that. But I mean, the gameplay is still there. It still feels good. The game still plays great. There's a lot of new princes to unlock in the game and find in the game. Lots of more gifts to customize your princes as well, which is another thing that I really like. And then the soundtrack was also very good. I think there was just one song that I didn't like on the entire soundtrack, but the soundtrack was also very good in the game too. And I really liked the story for this one as well. I really liked, the dueling kings. So there's one king who is asleep, and you're talking to him in his dreams. And the princes, because the king is asleep, they're like, oh shit, we need to keep doing our thing. So they build a robotic version of the king, and he has like existential crises while you're trying to do stuff for him. So, a lot of fun things in there, of course, and a lot of fun things with the story, I should say, and a lot of fun dialogue in there. And in the end, I did like the ending of the game. You like start to roll up the cosmos, and you need to roll up the king himself to get him to wake up. And then you roll up the Robo King because, he's kind of gone off the deep end. So you roll him up, and it was a satisfying ending, the whole thing. So at the end of the day, even though I wasn't like as high on this game as Katamari Damacy or We Heart Katamari, I still found it to be a very fun game and a very good time. And, that kind of outweighs some of the more criticism things I have for the game, but I still am critical of it. So I gave this one a 3.5 out of 5. I found it enjoyable still, but I felt like it could have been better in a few key areas. And if I hadn't played Katamari Damacy and We Love Katamari so closely along with this game, maybe the returning levels would have been like, oh, this is so fun, we're doing this from the last game. But there was a lot of levels that were reused, so it's a bit. I don't know. I think it's a fair criticism for the game. That's all I'm trying to say. And that's it for today, folks. Really appreciate you listening to this episode. I know we're in for the long haul once more. Not exactly 2 hours yet, but still a pretty long haul. Let's go ahead and move on to What's That Song? If you know the name of the song and the game that it came from, I'll give you a super reaction in the Discord if you chat in the Fair 64 section. Or if you comment down below or on Spotify, I'll give you a heart and a congratulations. Let's go ahead and listen to today's song right now. All right, once again, if you know the name of the song or the game that came from, and the game that came from, let me know in the comments below or on the Discord. All right, folks, thank you so much for listening to this episode of the podcast. Really do appreciate that. If you want to check out anything else I do, it's all at Yemmy the Ferret, whether it be on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, etc. I forgot to do this at the start of the video. I apologize, but if you like the video or if you like the podcast, make sure you like the video on YouTube and or rate on Spotify out of 4 stars and or leave a review on Apple Podcasts. It does help the podcast grow. I also run another podcast called Film Freaks with a Z at the end. We talk about movies. The most recent episode was about Happy Gilmore 1 and 2. It's the 150th episode of the podcast, so we brought back returning members D&D Lucy and Greedy Waffles to the show to talk about Happy Gilmore 1 and 2. It was an interesting conversation, so if you want to check that out, that's available right now. Everything else is all at Yemmy the Ferret. I stream on Twitch Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Right now we're playing Anthem before it gets shut down, and we'll be switching out to another game. Tune in on Tuesday to find out which. All right, folks, thank you so much once again. I am Yemmy the Ferret, and I am out of here. So long.
The Ferret 64 podcast is owned and edited by Yemmy the Ferret. Small sound clips used throughout the podcast were made by Yemmy the Ferret. The song in the intro and outro is Nightshade by Adhesive Wombat. The Ferret 64 logo was made by Player2P2. News sources include PushSquare.com, NintendoLife.com, and PureXbox.com. All opinions, video game related, are my own. Thank you for listening.